Queen Watch. Here it is, folks. It's the signature segment that you love so much that is redefined and revitalized Anime Sickos. We're bigger than ever. People can't stop talking about us. Every week there's new listeners. When we post a new episode, the people retweeting it are people we've never heard of before.
And they all say the Queen Watch is worth plugging into.
Yeah, they say that it's the reason they started listening and stay listening, which is why it's so sad that there's been some horrible news with the Queen that may force us to retire our beloved segment. It's so good of a segment that really all the episodes before we debuted Queen Watch seem more like prologue. They're sort of like a dry run than
Someone
real
on Blue
episodes.
Sky asked, where should I start? I didn't respond yet, but I will say, just don't bother with anything that happened before Queen Watch. It's bullshit.
Exactly. I feel that way as well. I've said in the past, Anime Sickos is my best work. It's just like it's like the first thing I've done that I feel like really utilizes my full abilities. I've grown into myself as an artist. Well, that was a fucking lie because I wasn't doing Queen Watch, but we're going to have to retire Queen Watch because I don't know if you saw this in the news, but I'm so sorry to announce that cancer was found in our Queen Elizabeth. Cancer's not always a death sentence. There's ways to treat it, but especially
it's
when
not
you're
great
old.
news though. Like, even an optimistic look, we can agree. Like, it's not a diagnosis you want to get.
It's definitely bad news. I'm trying to think of a situation where I'd be like really glad to get a cancer diagnosis. The only thing I can think of is there's a club for guys who have cancer where when you join, they give you a lot of money and also the cure for cancer. But
money.
Yes. Okay. But aside from that, it's this terrible news, devastating. And you know what actually really sucks is because this is very serious. This is no joking matter. We would never joke about this.
But there's also a sign of the times.
Yeah, because you'd think that you take this seriously, but media has been so undervalued and gutted with layoffs that, like, not even this can get the respect it deserves. They're using AI to write these news stories, and they're making so many mistakes.
They keep calling her Charles for one, which is just stupid.
And the hand... Okay, I said before, they actually can do hands right. I saw the pictures of her that they AI generated for these articles where they call her Charles, and her hands are they're ridiculous. They're like cartoon hands. Like, you think that we're gonna fall for that?
The computer will never do hands. They're never gonna get good. They're always gonna just look like just a nightmare.
Yeah. There was she was wearing one of her royal rings, and it looked like it was like gonna explode off, and it was like bulging finger on both sides, like the ring was too small. It was absurd. I feel really offended, especially as someone who's a journalist of the royals who takes this very seriously
and has like a really good track record of respect. On this topic. Yeah, and
also of accuracy. We get it right. Queen Watch is always on top of the news about the Queen, and we never joke. I would never laugh.
It's not funny.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Anime Sickos. It's the podcast for geniuses and the only podcast where we take a look at the four pillars of modern misery: anime, gaming, posting, and jobs. I am Tom, an Anime Sicko.
I'm Joe, an Anime Sicko.
We got to thank our newest patron giving us $5 normal dollars from the real country of America. It's going to be Yumewaru. Yumewaru. Thank you.
Thank you for your real dollars, because with the other dollars, although they're fun from like a collectathon standpoint, you immediately got to apply math to figure out like what are we doing here.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to try to do that. That just won't work. as for what we do with the money, if you want to give us money at patreon.com/animesickos, we use it to pay guests for one, but we have guests so infrequently. You might be thinking, what you doing with the rest? Well, there was a year and a half we made an audio drama with it, and
the ROI was fucked.
Yeah, that really. Whoa, that was an experience. Anyway, I'm getting.
So obviously the plan is to save up and do it again.
We'll see. The other thing is that it's sort of, you get access to a Yu-Gi-Oh! Exclusive series that we don't do anymore. We fucking can't. It was so hard to like find time to do this shit before Joe had a living baby guy.
Yeah, like it's definitely the best thing that's ever happened to me. But like he is a schedule exploder for sure.
He's so cute. I love him. He's the best baby. I held the baby. Remember how I said in an earlier episode that I was too afraid to hold the baby without being allowed? It's like opening a new box of like crackers at someone else's house. Like Joe looks away and I'm holding the baby. It's like no. I gotta get told to hold the baby. Anyway, I held the baby. He's so cute. He was cuddly. Anyway, we're here today to talk about a phenomenon that's becoming more and more obvious as time goes by. And we're the first people to ever notice it. And it's not just part of getting
interject and say that this was us noticing this for the first time in the physical world.
Yeah. It's never happened before. No one else has thought this. Guys who fell off. Sometimes guys fall off, you know? They were up high, then they fell off. The sort of genesis of this, the reason we thought of this, and I've talked about this in the past, this isn't new, but like, I used to love John Hodgman. He wrote these fake almanacs, and it was like the pinnacle of 2004 core writing.
I think it's still good. There's a lot of like, I know exactly what you mean when you're saying 2004 core, but there's plenty of shit in there that is just weirder and punching past that filter. It's still good.
I know, I totally agree. When I say the pinnacle, I mean he's like, with every tired, trope or genre or style, there's someone who was so good that there was that was the reason everyone tried to do it too and made it overexposed. Like that sort of comedy style where the joke is like, I'm very erudite and I'm going on in such an elevated language about silly epic things. Like that makes you roll your eyes now, but like his books are that, but like good. They made me laugh big time, still do. And I really liked listening to his podcast, Judge John Hodgman, for a while, where people have crazy disputes and he decides who's right. That was pretty fun.
I listened to that when I was in commuting hell for a bit. What I felt about that podcast is that it's mostly just him like enabling the weirdest sort of dad behaviors. Because a lot of the episodes are like father and child being like, oh, my dad refuses to get his air conditioning fixed when he drives for 4 hours across the desert for work. And like that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, he generally sides against the insane dad. You are correct that a big trend is an insane dad decides that a commonly agreed upon social convention is wrong. It's not actually illogical, and I have invented a better version. And can you please force my family to agree that it's better? And then John Hodgman has to always explain to them that the commonly agreed upon is the logic. Like that's what makes it. It's like this convention doesn't make sense, so I'm going to do something else. It's like no. The thing that makes it make sense is that it's a convention. Anyway, the point being, it's kind of funny. But this MFer, he a lib, and he doesn't write his fucking books no more.
He said, I don't know, I would describe it as like a Disney adult moment with sort of Star Wars. I don't know. It's just like he feels like very much a specific point in time that has passed. To be clear, I think his whole deal worked because he wasn't just like some random guy. He was like a former literary agent. So like his whole like, oh, I'm a smart, matter of fact world writer worked for that reason. But now I don't care.
Yeah. He's just like a guy who's been around for a long time, and it's just like, and I know why he fell off, the passage of time. But like, yeah, and I say fell off like it's awful. Like he's still pretty good. It's just that, like, man, I used to think of him as my idol. I was like, if only I could ever be as funny as John Hodgman. And now I see him post like, I'm Pokemon going to the polls, and I'm like, okay.
The other person who has fallen off, for me, the person who has fallen off the most in terms of cultural impact to what they are now, is Michael Ian Black. I apologize, but it's time for a white boy to talk about the state.
This is what podcasts are made for. This is fundamentals. This is like us doing bounce passes. Like, this is how we stay sharp.
Like many white boys, the state was a big influence. The state was a show which seems insane in retrospect, which was MTV gave a bunch of NYU students a sketch show, and they were the state was the name of the group, and they had like shows they did live, so like the episodes were like live stuff but also stuff they shot. Anyway, all these fucking people were like 19 and 20 when they did this. I cannot stress that they were just very funny children, and were given a television show. And one of those people in there is Michael Ian Black, who is also in Stella, a thing I will defend until I die. Not that people are coming for it a lot, but I really fucking love it.
We got to make a sketch where like we have a straw man character who's like, blah, 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 Stella sucks, and then you can say your piece.
But he did have that sort of mainstream, I guess, MSNBC type liberal turn. He did a book with Meghan McCain. Was it America, I Love You, You Sexy Bitch or something?
Yeah, there was definitely a swear word in it. It was like the subtle art of giving a fuck. You know how there's like those like cheeky books, like, can you believe we put a swear word in it? And it was all about how like you shouldn't be too extreme because that's not nice. But the issue is like my extreme is good. Like I have the good, like our extreme is like, what if the doctor didn't cost a lot of money?
He was also sort of the eye-opening moment that I think a lot of people on Twitter have this sort of realization, or at least they did before it became just like an awful sight. I saw an ad that was just a pussy. It's an awful sight. And not to be like, oh, like that's because that's what you're looking for. It's like, no, other people were like, look at this fucking, what is this happening? Living garbage. But you have this realization, especially in like 2015, that like everyone who's like professionally a comedian, by which I mean like they have a stand-up special and all this stuff, maybe just is not good at Twitter. Compare that to people who just have mental disorders. Dude, they're so much better at Twitter. Like this is what I mean. I was like, I joined Twitter. I'm like, oh, Michael Ian Black from Stella and The State. The Stella, in my opinion, I say this all the time, has one of the best pilots ever. I was like, oh, cool. I would look forward to seeing his thoughts and jokes. And he is getting lapped by people who don't know they're bipolar. And it's
like a lot of people have pointed out that the poster who got shot to death by the cops while he was waving a sword around was like a bad person and like racist. But he did have a couple of bangers that were much funnier than any post Michael Ian Black ever did.
A man was shot by the cops, and there was tweets that were like, I will never be shot by the cops. It really feels like we made this guy up. Like, this is a very, like, Tom and Joe person.
Yes, yeah. Like, when we say, like, this thing happened and killed me instantly. No, it didn't. Like, this guy got shot by the cops while holding the sword. No, he was.
It's the same thing as the Parasite getting over your trauma cake.
Yes,
just like,
yes. The cake that nothing bad will happen to, because that would be awful. Anyway, time for it to not have anything bad happen to it. Yeah, I'm very agree with you on this. Like, you start on Twitter, you join the site, and you're like, I can't believe that I'm on the same social network as my favorite comedy writers and performers. Now, who's someone who's made me laugh time and time again? That's my man MIB, Michael Ian Black. Incredible breakout star of the state, breakout star. Love him. And
star of I Love the 90s. He was a common talking head on that.
yeah, he did. He made up lots of good riffs off the dome on that one. And then you see, I wonder what he has to say, and it's all like anyone who is not voting
like
for
your
Joe
dentist
Biden.
neighbor now. It sucks.
Like if you're not voting for Joe Biden, you hate America and you love Trump. Don't you understand that if you don't support Biden, you're basically dooming all women? And it's just like, okay, man. And then, meanwhile, fucking our homie Dylan just shooting out posts at an incredible level at like 11 p.m. on the bus to 10 likes that are the funniest shit I've ever read in my life.
Correct, yeah. I think he does it in between shadow boxing to practice fighting games.
Yes, this is true.
The next person who fell off, the guy who came up with the rule of threes. How about you come up with a new number, asshole?
Yeah, what if I want to write 4 jokes, huh? What am I supposed to do? When's the silly one happen? Another person who fell off in a big way, that's our boy Bernie Sanders.
He got lapped by Dick Durbin on Stop the Murdering. Like, I was agog. So, you know, in the primary for 2020, how there was Iowa, and that was famously
the Pete
the
Buttigieg,
one where Pete...
yeah, he had a commanding performance where he won handily, or so he told me.
He came out and said, I crushed it, I won. Winnie and I got on the bus and knocked on doors that day in Iowa. So when he did that, it was just like, oh, fuck, that's way easier. But yeah, Dick Durbin has called for ceasefire talk more than Bernie has at this point, which I gotta say, I know the machine's gotta get blood, but like, okay, yeah, I guess it's really gotta get blood from everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, like when Dick Durbin's on the left of you on any topic, you really gotta like, oh no, what did I do? Did I ever tell you this? I was once at a live lit event with a guy this was when Obama was still cool. We didn't know about Obama yet. And he was talking about how he was working as staff at some Democratic convention, at some Democratic Party get-togethers, a party, what have you, I don't know, gala. He was like one of the servers. And Obama was a rising star and he was going to give a speech. And he like talked to Obama when he was working, and Obama mentioned him in the speech, and he was like, I knew then that like, oh, this motherfucker's going to be president someday. He wasn't even a senator yet. He's like, oh, this guy is the president in a bit.
He's got the juice.
Anyway, the thing I always remember is that Dick, he had worked a number of these galas, and he had seen Dick Durbin, senator from Illinois, a number of times. And he said Dick Durbin always came with 2 women on his arms. They were always different women, but they were always the same woman. Which I thought was an incredible line. I just talk about economy of language. Like, you get it completely.
That's a poet.
Anyway, I forget who that fucking guy was. I wish I could credit him. Oh, no. Another person who fell off is our dad, Yakub.
Does he call you anymore?
No.
Like, he doesn't even fucking text.
Never. I used to have him over. He hasn't been around. No call. He doesn't answer my text. He left me on red.
Although, in his defense, I haven't been to Patmos in a while.
And it just costs a lot of money to get that airfare. Because, you got to get the connect. It's not direct to Patmos. You got to go to fucking... You got to go to Heathrow, and then you go to Athens, and you got to get the ferry to Patmos. Anyway, Yakub. Anyway, Jesus Christ. You know what's insane to think of? Like, it's not only insane to think of, but it's insane to think that, like, this wasn't like there was a niche opinion that some people had that has been proven wrong because the guy's fallen off. It was like, no, this was mainstream, like and cross, like from nerds to normies, everyone thought this, and it was actually, if you look at it, correct at the time. We once all thought Dave Chappelle was like the guy whose comedy could not be impugned, and who, when he was around, you felt really good, and you knew you were gonna have a good time. Wow,
that's changed. Obviously, His views on trans people are clear at this point. He's also spoken to stop affordable housing happening near his house in Ohio, which is...
I just feel like if you're going to be a housing Hitler and be like, my mansion can't go down in value, like, that's what LA is for. Like, we have a place for that.
Yes.
Like, that's where the mansions live. It's really insane. Like, I haven't been fucking following him for a long time, obviously, because he's a freak.
It's just kind of like
now.
hate.
He loves Elon. I mean, he's a big time like bigot. He is a big time landlord. Even if he doesn't own property that he rents out, this is landlord behavior. What he's doing, and
he's lording over land.
Exactly. Yes. Good. Well said. And also, he's like buddies with Elon, which, like, considering who Elon is, well, that tells you a lot.
Elon getting on stage and saying "I'm rich, bitch" incorrectly seems like 100 years ago, but it in fact was
200 years ago. I don't fucking
know.
know.
Yeah, it was twice as long.
I can't believe he can't land "I'm rich." He said, you roll the tape back. He says, "I'm rubber." Like, what? What?
His physical comedy is pretty good too. Like it's not funny for the right reason, obviously, but there's a very Conor O'Malley energy and stumbliness. When he gets up on stage, as he says, "I'm rubber."
I'm rubber. Jesus Christ. But yeah. Dave Chappelle, I heard about his most most hour, and it's he definitely he's definitely not still doing trans material. I'm like, oh buddy, he is. That's the only thing you think about.
It's a terminal end state. It's when you get here, this is all you can do.
Yeah, it's like you were talking about sludge in the previous episode. Once you become sludgy and surrender to the sludge, you can't change your mind and get out. You're in it, and yeah, that's where he's in. Anyway, another person that fell off is Rivers Weezer. Have you heard of Rivers Weezer, the lead man from Weezer? His name is Rivers Weezer.
When's the last time you listened to Weezer? Honestly, you're going to say he fell off, and I have a feeling you have not been even collecting data.
Well, I mean, Joe, you're on the right track, but not as right as you think. Because I will cop to I hardly ever listen to Weezer. I haven't listened to Weezer in years, with a big S, capital S on years. And so if I were to tell you that Rivers Weezer fell off because his music ain't no good no more, you would be right to say, "Poser, how do you know?" But that's not why Rivers Weezer fell off. So one of the two albums that everyone says is good, I think this album's pretty good, is their second album, Pinkerton, which is notable because it takes a really honest and uncomfortable look at all of Rivers Weezer's weird sexual hang-ups. And they're not normal.
But it's honest.
Yeah, and it is compelling because it's very, it's stuff that you don't hear sung about by mainstream rock bands. And you kind of feel am I supposed to be hearing this? And it makes it unique.
He's tired of sex.
He's tired of it. Too much. And yet, at the same time, he's so horny. And one of the big things, the themes that go throughout this entire album, is he's got this sort of unthinkable lust obsession with a woman that is, in his words, I'm going to quote Rivers Weezer, a half Japanese girl who does it to him every time. Well, Joe, would you read?
So this is, I don't know what platform this is because it's not Twitter, but it's a screenshot of Rivers Cuomo posting Rivers Weezer, and it's just, she turned out to be half Korean is the message. Oh, that was the main factor in the song. You read her diary, didn't you?
Yes, and oh
my God, this is a plot twist in a Yakuza game.
This is oh my God, it definitely is. Isn't this Isn't like fucking that's one of the guy from Yakuza 0, he's like, I'm Korean. I'm from Korea. That's my big I was trafficked by the Yakuza from Korea. That's my twist. That's why I hate the Yakuza so much. I mean, to go ahead and be like, I'm gonna expose, like, I know that this obsession of mine is weird, and I'm gonna sort of exercise my demons by like putting them out there, warts and all. Like, this is how creepy I am. This is who I really am. Do you understand? That's like a real bold artistic move. But to not fact check, like, who is this bitch that who's this lady? God. And why would he say it?
Why would you say it? You should just keep that under your hat, even if it is true. Just shut up about that one.
Shit, Joe. It just occurred to me. I hadn't thought of this before because the idea of I was going to say a Rivers because the idea of a Weezer concert is so, like, I would never think of that. But they're, like, putting on concerts, which means that they're probably singing El Scorcho, which has the
There's
half
no
Japanese.
way they are not getting yelled at to play that. I'm yelling at them to play that.
It's a good song.
Unfortunately, we now know it's inaccurate. It is not census quality.
Yes. This is also a good opportunity to pull up one of the great Weezer tweets of all time.
Oh, I love this fucking picture. You got an old-timey, frankly, beautiful flintlock pistol that has 4 stupid barrels that are spaced evenly.
And the original poster said, when you need to shoot exactly 4 evenly spaced dudes.
Say your prayers, Weezer. When I searched to find this picture, I found a Reddit post, people complaining about this meme. They're like, I'm fucking sick of this. Like, it's not good.
Oh,
it's funny. It's the Weezer gun. No, it's like, no, it is. It's good.
Joe, I had 2 horrible things happen to me in my brain in quick succession. Because I wanted to credit the original poster, Hormea. I don't know what that means. Hormea. And while I was looking at sort of like the details, I realized, like, again, like the way you were describing, like, I'm so sick of the Weezer meme, and like this feels like it's been around forever. When I think about a gun with 4 barrels, I think about this tweet. So all the time. It feels like it's elemental. And I'm looking at it and it's like, oh my God, this was posted in April of 2021. This was posted like this year. And then I realized, that's 3 years ago. That's actually long.
Yeah, that's Clinton's second term.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. You know what I hate? The passage of time. You know what else I hate is that the next person who's fallen off is the train, the choo-choo.
Live from Chicago, I'm sad about the trains. So cities that have trains famously also have people that drive them. Chicago is currently just got the train part.
Yeah.
They are in desperate need of additional train operators. To do that, you have to be a flagger, which is, by like their own admission, like the worst job ever.
For like a year, you got to do it.
By which I mean, like, at events about potentially becoming a flagger, they're like, you got to tell your family that you're checking into the John Wick Hotel now.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
There's a thread by a local Chicago guy named Nick Hunder, who went to, because they were having it, as Joe describes, an orientation event for the flaggers. Like, I think like kind of like a job fair of flaggers.
And again, this is square one for getting more operators, because you have to be a flagger.
I'm going to quote Nick directly. They emphasized that a strong support system was needed to excel in this role because CTA's needs fluctuate with construction needs. That has created a system where employees find out the day ahead by calling to find out which 8-hour shift, 12 in overtime, they'll be working. Rail Ops for red, purple, and yellow line said, if your support system isn't strong, now is a good time to start increasing it. Prepare your families for it.
Well, the yellow line fucking fell off and exploded, so they didn't do a good job.
This is inconsiderate and also unrealistic. How can anyone plan on working 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. one day and then 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. to another and 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. on a third day? What if you had children?
The calling thing is jury duty. They're like every day for work you have to call to see if you come in. That is insane.
Oh my god. It is. Fuck. Okay. I don't want to read the whole thread. You can look it up. But this one is the one that like made me fucking bookmark it and be like, we got to talk about this shit. A potential applicant asked if there was any additional training for rail operators, which is valid because it's not advertised. The red, yellow, purple line manager just laughed before answering the question. What's going on over there? Why would you laugh?
The train has fallen off.
It's fallen off big time. You know what else has fallen off is water park / fuck hotel Sybaris.
Okay, yeah. Tom and I had our sort of common cultural moment, which is like, hey, as a kid, do you remember these commercials for Sybaris, which was a fuck hotel that had like a water slide?
Yeah, an erotic hotel where you can get, and I believe in their words, actually I looked this up, is it called a pool suite. You get an erotic pool suite.
Yes. And I've seen this commercial so many times, and Tom has as well. And the thing we were trying to figure out is like, why was it getting beamed into our eyes?
Why were they
kids?
advertising to children? Because I told my wife about, like, I made a joke to my wife where I said Sybaris, and like Sybaris was the punchline. She's like, "What's that?" I'm like, "I guess you wouldn't know. It's this sensual pool hotel where you have sex in it." And I know about this because when I was a little kid, I saw TV ads for it. Wait a minute, this doesn't fucking make sense. And so I'm like, did I, like, Sybaris exists, so I didn't make it up. But I'm just like, I must be remembering it wrong how I know about Sybaris. And then I was going to ask you, but I always forgot to. And today I finally remembered. I'm like, Joe, and I didn't fucking set you up. I'm like, did you see commercials for Sybaris when you were a little kid? And I didn't tell you what Sybaris was. And you were like, oh, the fuck hotel? My
response, yeah, it was the fuck hotel, correct? Yes, I remember those. I wonder what regional, like, we have Sybaris. I wonder if there's, like, regional versions of it.
Where you have sex in nasty water in a fucking little...
I assumed the variations were still, like, clean. I thought the theme would be... Dirty isn't a good theme, Tom.
Well, I mean, how... Okay, well, what's the alternative? How do you keep a pool suite clean is you use nonsense amounts of fucking chlorine, which makes the room absolutely stink.
Every time I saw those commercials, I could smell a public pool.
Yes. I did not understand as a child it was a fuck thing, so I thought it was just a hotel that you went to at home. You're not on a vacation. You just go to this hotel, and there's a hot tub and a water slide in your room, and you just kind of kiss and hold a rose. And I'm like, that seems great.
That's a good night.
What? So what was I fucking watching when I was a kid? I was watching Nickelodeon and the Cartoon Network. No fucking chance it was on those, right?
I just believe they probably bought a lot of daytime garbage TV ad space, and just were you like flip through channels, right? Like obviously you wanted to watch cartoons, but were you churning through things?
Yeah. It wasn't like I was turning on like Lifetime or A&E or like fucking shows for adults. I would look at like there's a local station that had UPN had cartoons, WGN had cartoons. They were the one who broadcast Pokemon. So yeah, I guess so, but that doesn't, like, it made an impression strong enough that it was like one of those commercials you've seen a million times, like the Sears ad about air conditioning.
I'll call now.
Call Sears. Yeah, exactly. So like I had to have seen it a lot, and you don't see something a lot by like flipping through, when you're sick and watching The Price is Right and catching it by accident.
This was worn into our head. Like there's a groove in our skull from this. And I would love to know who's responsible. Like, which advertiser.
And I guess the reason they've fallen off is that, which is, what I'm about to say isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I don't think as many children know about Sybaris as they used to.
Yeah. Well, if we're talking about commercials, I think it's safe to say that Eagle Man has fallen off as well.
Eagle Man, I haven't heard about Eagle Man in years. Where'd he go?
Eagle Man is a fucking Chicagoland insurance commercial, right? Auto insurance.
Yeah, because he would always lay his egg on cars. And this is Detroiters commercial. You know, like the Detroiters characters have an ad agency where they make terrible commercials because they're idiots. Like this is like the real text that they based their parody off of.
Yes. You have a guy in a full eagle suit. He says, just an insane. The line is, "I've got something for you," and he says it in like the most deranged way, and then he lays the egg.
Something for you.
You know why he's talking like that? Because that's the first time he has tried human speech.
And the huge egg comes out of his ass. Eventually, they retconned it to Eagle Woman, and they did that by he's holding a purse and has like a bonnet on. Because he lays an egg. Eagle Man lays an egg, and the egg has like taped to it a bunch of car insurance rates.
Yeah, great rates. Just awesome. I haven't seen him too much. I don't really watch TV, but it's also possible the Empire carpet guy hunted him for sport, and he might just be gone in like a dead sense.
Yeah. The Empire Carpet Man, if you don't know, is an incredible man who knows all about carpet and telling you what his phone number is. And he has transcended death by becoming one with the computer like Tor Client. He's still around as a cartoon man.
He won't die. He will live on forever.
I have a bobblehead of him right behind me as I speak. I'm looking at it now. I don't remember how I got it. He's just, in Chicago, he's around. He's like Peter You know who else fell off? Peter Francis Geraci. I don't hear about infotapes no more.
There was a Peter Francis Geraci office near me. It was a small one that was not formerly a Taco Bell. And Tom, this kind of made me think the economy was in the shitter. We're fucking fucked. Was that it closed? And I was like, if the bankruptcy guy from TV is closing his office, that means dollars are fake.
This is funny money now. If you don't know about Peter Francis Geraci, again, this was a man who advertised to children with a product that no child could ever want or even understand.
The strategy was so clearly just, if there's a TV on during the day, you're going to get hit with it. And for that, it was a good strategy.
He's a lawyer, a bankruptcy attorney, whose face always looks like he's kind of scared and it looks like he,
not sure if it's a ghost.
He's getting pinched really hard and he doesn't know who's doing it, but he can't turn around right now because he's giving a speech for his commercial. And also he has no charisma. He kind of talks like Eagle Man, and he says, "I'm Peter Francis Geraci." And he always wants you to buy his infotapes. That's his special. That's his unique selling point, is that he's got infotapes.
Infotapes have fallen off.
Yeah. You don't have, for one, removable media in general. That's gone. I mean, that's fucking hard drives now. You don't have like a tape, you know, and tapes especially. Magnetic tape is trash. No one uses it.
Quiznos has fallen off. In retrospect, when your value add is like, we will toast the bread, which no one else can do. Like, the technology is not available to other chains. Quiznos has fallen off. One of my favorite little Quiznos anecdotes is on North Broadway in Chicago, on like the north edge of Boys Town, by Windy City Gyros. There was somewhere along that stretch at one point a Quiznos. I don't know where. What happened clearly is the Quiznos went out of business, and there was like a liquidation sale, because there are restaurants, or there were when I was living over there, that looked like everyone just looted a Quiznos, so we all got different parts.
Yeah, some of our seats have Q's on them. Don't think about it.
Like Wrigleyville Barbecue, which is, I think, it went under because of COVID, but they had Q on their like seats, which works for barbecue. The pizza place near there had toasty in that neon like light font. A pizza place. So yeah, that was fun. But the other thing that's fallen off, maybe even more than Quiznos himself, who's a guy.
Yeah, Mr. Quizno.
Is the Sponge Monkey. Do you remember the Sponge Monkey?
The little monsters who screech about the pepper bar.
I would love to see like the focus testing information. Everything they got out of an audience after showing them the little freaks.
I mean, on one hand, you could say that it was actually a really smart marketing move because here we are decades later talking about the Quiznos monsters. You know, we see that and we're always like the Quiznos monsters, horrible little things with disgusting eyes and mouths that shriek in the most horrible way imaginable. It's there, it's lodged. But on the other hand, Quiznos out of business. It didn't work.
Yeah. People figured out toast at home.
Yeah. Once it's like when another company figured out how to make a radio. It's like, oh no, what do we do? You know what else has fallen off? And well, actually, I'm not gonna say this guy's fallen off. I'm gonna say this guy is in danger of falling off. This is sort of our transition to the guys who figured it out, which is our final segment. This is sort of the bridge. One of my favorite musicians, is Ted Leo from Ted Leo and the Pharmacists. He made a bunch of records with the Pharmacists that are insanely good. You go and listen to The Tyranny of Distance. You go and listen to Shake the Sheets. You go to listen to Hearts of Oak. You go and listen to Living with the Living. You go and listen to The Brutalist Bricks. You're gonna have a great time. You're gonna say these records are all bangers, all singles, no filler. I love Ted Leo. You're gonna say. Well, I say that as well. Thing is, after The Brutalist Bricks came out, and I think 2010, don't quote me on that, he decided to become a full-time podcaster's friend. He was like exclusively the guy who fills in on Max Fun podcasts when one of the hosts is out.
That's probably easier than making music, though.
See, here's the thing. Here's why I can't get mad. Is because, like, to make music the way Ted Leo does, which is to say, like, he puts out, like, solid, like, power pop punk records that are, like, low-key and very, like, stripped down and, like, back to basics. Just good songwriting, good rhythm section, good guitar, solid. This is a thing which it is impossible to make a single dollar bill from doing. Like, it just... It's now more than ever. When he started,
I can't imagine why you like him so much.
What are you talking about?
It's just what an incredible thing. There's no way you can make money off this.
Well, I mean, there's so many people who I like that can't make money off of the things they do. Case in point, fucking me, Joe.
Yeah. The government should give us a stipend to be delightful.
I say it all the time, and it's always true. We're so right. The point being, so I was like, it's so sad that Ted Leo has stopped doing music on account of it's an insane thing that makes you no money. It's a young man's game. I understand. Then he, after a couple of years of no new music, he put out a crowdfunding campaign for a new record, and I was so excited. I was like, hell yeah, and obviously, I pledged. I got the vinyl record tier, and I was so excited for it to come out. And I don't know if it was advertised like this at the beginning, but eventually it became clear that this was actually not a Ted Leo and the Pharmacist record. This was a Ted Leo record. What's the difference? The difference is on this one, he played all the instruments himself and produced it himself. And let me just say, you can tell.
Oh no.
Turns out a good rhythm section of specialized drum and bass players is more better than you just doing the parts in your home studio. And also, man, the production, like I'm not an audiophile. I'm not going to say I can fucking tell, like, oh, it's so warm and deep. I can't tell the fucking difference. You listen to The Hanged Man by Ted Leo and compare it to any of his Pharmacist records, you're like, oh, this one was made on a laptop mic. Like, he recorded this on the laptop mic. It's, like, shocking. It made me so disappointed. I'm just like, this is not the Ted Leo and the Pharmacist record I wanted. I don't know if he's ever going to make one again. He might, you know what? If he's retired from music full time, that's fine. I totally respect it. But what would make him fall off is if he put out another one of these fucking half measures. I tell you.
So we're warming up. He hasn't fallen off. He's like, I don't know, kind of cooking.
Yeah. He's got a track record of bangers, and he's made one big misstep, and then is sort of like in a limbo where he could go either way. So overall positive. I like him. Record scratch update. Ted Leo recently just announced that he's going to be doing a fucking tour with the Pharmacists for the 20th anniversary of their classic record, Shake the Seats. Classic. He is officially not a fallen off guy. And so now we've transitioned entirely into people who figured it out.
Guys who have figured it out. Well, I don't need to remind you of this, Tom, because you already know this, but listener, as you know, the point of life is to make people listen to you do sketches.
Correct, yes.
That's the entire reason to be on this earth.
It's why the state people were the luckiest children who ever lived.
Correct. This is why the fish left the ocean and walked on land. The people who have figured it out with this goal in mind, definitively, rappers. Because rappers, they would put sketches on the album, and then you would have to get like tricked into listening to a sketch, but it happened. Like you would listen.
Yeah. Smartest people of all time. You realize, oh wow, this new genre of music, a uniquely American genre, less than a century old, incredible, so fresh, and so popular as well, selling big numbers of records. The rappers, the most famous people in the country. I love this. And I'm a rapper. Wow. What am I going to do? Am I going to make a series of classic songs? Well, that goes without saying. But what else am I going to do?
I got a joke I haven't quite worked out with my buddy. And we're going to just kind of see where it doesn't go.
So, Joe, which of these two do you like more? When there is just a track that is skit, or when they fucking like stick the skit at the end of a real song.
The latter is disgusting. It is offensive to humanity.
Playlist annihilator.
It is the playlist annihilator. That's not okay. It's not okay.
And yet I sort of respect how like astonishingly anti-human it is. It's like, you know how much you're gonna listen to my skit? You know how far I'm gonna go to make sure you hear my little gag? I'm acting, man.
Yes,
I do like it. There's some I think the second De La Soul album, because like last year, I think at some point, I forget, it was some legal shit. They kept them. They were not on Spotify or any streaming services. And finally, all of De La Soul's records are on streaming. You can listen to them again. Yay. It was a big deal. Everyone was going nuts for De La Soul. I think it's their second album, which is like it's almost half skits, like by runtime. Like, not by, like, song, skit. I mean, it is that. But, like, I remember the first time I listened to it in high school, and, like, I'm a pro skit guy. Like, I'm predisposed to like skits. I was
presenting this pie chart to them. So, this part, the smaller part, is the music.
I couldn't believe... I'm just like... Like, there's no way you're putting another skit here. Oh, my God. Oh, I love it.
So on that same, I'd say, motif, another pair of guys who figured it out were the two guys who were on the Super Mario Super Show, because they would do 5-minute stupid sketches that like would bookend a Mario cartoon. That is so fucking smart because their sketches were mostly them walking around the apartment while Mario sound effects played. Like Roddy Piper showed up one time because I think there was like spaghetti stuck in the pipes. It's also clear that like they lived in Brooklyn. That was like an aspect of it. But yeah, dude, listen. If you're ever in sort of like a showrunner capacity, listener, and you're like, I have this wonderful cartoon, but it's not enough for a time slot. Motherfucker. It's time to just put on some costumes and just do some dog shit. Because because the minute it like, this isn't going so well, it's over. And Mario has started. It doesn't matter.
You don't have to write. Oh, it's so hard to write the ending to a sketch. Don't. The ending is anyway. Here's the cartoon.
Yes. Yeah. It's very itchy and scratchy. Like Krusty being like, oh, we can't show that again.
Well, that's a thing. That's another thing that has fallen off and is a reason that these guys have figured it out. You never see shows where like a cartoon isn't the show. The cartoon is like something that we just got a hold of, and like, do you want me to show you this?
Yes, there's a little bit of that in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because there's the deranged Funny Bunny comic / cartoon. The silver-haired freak is really into.
I love that he's like that, even in the original. Like this isn't just the dub. In the manga, Funny Bunny, the comic book that the guy reads, is specifically said like the American comic Funny Bunny with 1,000 issues. Everyone, the great Americans, like, motherfucker, are you not a professional comics artist? Do you not know that there has like never been a popular like kids humor comic published in America in issues at least? Like I know there's Dogman, but those are books. Oh shit, you're gonna have to learn about Dogman sooner than later.
I don't know what Dogman is.
Oh, it's just one of the most popular. It's like more popular than like manga. It's like it's Dav Pilkey who made Captain Underpants. He made a fucking series of comic books that are sort of like chapter book length called Dogman, and like all kids would do jihad for Dogman.
That's fine. It seems like I'd rather have my son being locked in on that than Paw Patrol. So I will take that. Tom read to my son. It was very cute. We have a book called The ABCs of Gaming that's like, it's cute. It's very cute. F is for frame rate, you know. Some say 60 is enough. I know you won't believe that stuff, et cetera, et cetera.
I told him 60's fine, Ivan. You can't tell the difference. It doesn't matter.
He's my son, and he will learn and understand that 144 hertz monitor makes even regular Windows look like shit if it's at 60 hertz. Anyway,
yeah, whatever you say.
So on that gaming topic, you know who's a guy who figured it out? And this is like in any video game where this occurs. Guys who do critical hits.
It makes normal hits look like utter shit, folks.
Why would you even do a regular one?
I think evil, a bad soul, a diseased mind.
We've been positive for like, 3 of these? That's too much. We need to go back to someone who's fallen off.
We're a complainy show. We're about moaning and bitching. That's our fucking bread and butter, man.
The Street Sharks have fallen off. There has been like 4 TMNT reboots. They're getting lapped. No one gives a shit about the Street Sharks. This should be an easy sell to kids because sharks with genes, what else? They destroy infrastructure on their way to fight crime. Wonderful.
So people will share that video where Vin Diesel wasn't famous yet and he got hired for like a toy fair to hype up the Street Sharks. And the way he's like reading the copy about like, Mr. Chomps is a real party dude. He has a radical time and uses his special kung fu action. And it's like, that's Vin Diesel. But that's only shared because of the Vin Diesel. It's not Street Sharks, you know? That's not what's if it was a normal guy doing the fucking toy demo, it wouldn't get shared around. And not only Street Sharks, because it's clear that they've fallen off. SWAT cats, biker mice from Mars, all disgusting, huge animals with attitude. They're nothing. They've completely gone to dust.
Another thing that's fallen off, magazines about ska. You don't see those as much.
They call them just zines now. I want one that's glossy. I want it delivered to my house by the mail. I don't want to have to pick it up at the show from someone with a patch on their vest.
Oh, okay. This is quite the plunge as far as falling off. So bear with me in terms of the emotional plunge here. But Bubsy.
This raises a very interesting conundrum. Can someone have fallen off if they were never up?
I think so, because Bubsy, if you're not aware, Bubsy is a 90s Batitude mascot for, was it THQ? It doesn't fucking
clue.
It wasn't one of the big ones, but the point is he was supposed to be this flagship character that would carry the brand. Everyone would love Bubsy. He was he looked like Eek the cat without like just very much like who cares 90s remnant.
He had a white t-shirt with a red exclamation point on it, which looks like nothing so much as like placeholder shirt TK replace this when design finalized.
And when I see it, I actually like it parses as like a weird chipmunk shirt to me initially. It's like, hey, no.
Yeah.
But I know he had a reboot. Like I don't know why they made a Bubsy game like in this decade, but they did. Despite that, and not having played it, I am casting the judgment down from heaven that Bubsy has fallen off.
This was also a remnant of a time when it was thought that something that every character had to do to become popular was constantly be making like Bruce Valanche one-liners about how they felt about Rip Torn.
Yep, absolutely. Oh yeah, just it's the robot in the family move where it's like, oh, he could never stop talking. Like if there's silence, we have failed. They must always be chatting.
Yes, any moment where there is not a gag or quip is that's fucking burning daylight. We could have filled that with a gag or quip. Why are we wasting time? Or gagless moments.
We could have filled it with a joke or a gag, or in the case of Robot in the Family, public domain nursery rhymes.
Do you think that when Joe Pantoliano was on The Sopranos for like 2 seasons as a major character, winning awards, and rightly so, for his incredible acting,
I hope he talked about it.
do you think that everyone else on the cast knew about the Robot movie where he said, "Gold digger, you are life. You'll be protector and gold detector. And if you ever get in trouble, you call police right away." Do you think they ever talk about that on set? Did James Gandolfini know?
I set that as my alarm for wake up, and I did it exactly once, and I was like, I cannot do this.
That's just a day destroyer. That'd be the first thing you heard? Oh, God.
Yeah.
You know what you do? You call in sick. You're like, I'm sick. It's not in my body, but it counts just as much.
So I can hear my kid getting ready for bedtime. So can we kindly wrap it up?
Yes, because we're out of fucking people who have fallen off. So that's all for Anime Sickos this week. I've been Tom, an Anime Sicko.
I've been Joe, an Anime Sicko.
Don't fall off. We'll never fall off either. And we'll never get canceled. And we'll never stop being funny.
I will live forever. I will never be gunned down by the police, etc., etc.
Yeah. Anyway, bye-bye. Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, a sicko. You can follow me on Twitter at TomHarrison19. Joe is also a sicko. You can follow him on Twitter at Sharia Uncle. You can follow Anime Sickos on Twitter at Anime Sickos, or email us at animesickos@gmail.com. Please leave us a review or something. I don't know. Tell a friend. Anyway, until next time, bye.